Cristobal Balenciaga, a name synonymous with innovation, elegance, and a dedication to the craft of haute couture. He wasn't just a designer, he was an artist, a visionary who rewrote the rules of fashion. His work was so precise, so innovative, that Christian Dior himself called him the master of us all. But who was Cristobal Balenciaga? How did his journey begin? And how did a brand he closed at the peak of its success become one of the most influential names in modern fashion? This is the remarkable story of Balenciaga. Humble beginnings in a coastal town. Cristobal Balenciaga Eziguirre was born on January 21, 1895, in a small fishing village called Guetaria, located in Spain's Basque region. Life in this quaint seaside town was modest but infused with culture and tradition. His mother, Martina Eziguirre, was a seamstress who earned a living sewing clothes for the local aristocracy. His father, a fisherman, passed away when Cristobal was just a boy, leaving Martina to raise her children on her own. For young Cristobal, the sewing machine was both a source of fascination and comfort. Sitting by his mother's side for hours, he watched her skillfully create garments, fascinated by the process. His hands grew nimble, his eyes sharp, traits that would soon set him apart. By the time he was a teenager, Cristobal's talent was evident. However, in a small town, dreams of becoming a couturier seemed far-fetched. Everything changed when a powerful figure, the Marquesa de Casatorres, entered his life. Impressed by the young boy's skill and keen eye for detail, she became both a client and a mentor, ultimately sending Cristobal to Madrid for formal training. Building a dream in a changing world. Armed with new skills and determination, Cristobal returned to Spain and opened his first couture house in San Sebastian in his early 20s. It quickly became a haven for Spain's upper class, including royalty, who adored his sophisticated and exclusive designs. His reputation soared, and branches followed in Madrid and Barcelona. However, as fate would have it, this early success was short-lived. The Spanish Civil War erupted in 1936, plunging the nation into turmoil. Like so many others, Cristobal was forced to leave behind his life's work and flee the chaos. This period of uncertainty led him to Paris, the global epicenter of fashion. Paris, and the dawn of a legend Paris in the late 1930s, was a city brimming with creativity and resilience. Cristobal opened his maison at 10 Avenue George V in 1937, launching his career anew. His debut runway collection was unlike anything Paris had ever seen. Drawing inspiration from his Spanish heritage, he incorporated elements of the Spanish Renaissance, blending tradition with innovation. His designs were bold yet meticulous, elegant yet experimental. The world quickly took notice. By 1939, Balenciaga was celebrated as a revolutionary force in the fashion industry. His clothes weren't just garments, they were architectural marvels. However, yet again, global conflict disrupted his trajectory. World War II plunged Europe into chaos, and for many, luxury goods became unnecessary distractions. But not for Balenciaga's devoted clientele. His designs, such as the iconic square coat, inspired such loyalty that clients risked their lives crossing war-torn borders to obtain his pieces. By the time the war ended in 1945, the name Balenciaga was etched firmly into the annals of haute couture, redefining fashion with every stitch. As the world emerged from war, fashion reflected the shifting landscape. For many designers, the ideal female silhouette revolved around cinched waists and voluminous skirts. Christian Dior's new look was a sensation, dominating post-war fashion, but Cristobal Balenciaga took an entirely different path. Balenciaga sought to liberate the female form. His designs were fluid, streamlined, and free from the constraints of structured undergarments. From the sack dress to the cocoon coat, each piece challenged the conventions of beauty at the time. This willingness to defy the norm didn't just redefine women's fashion, it altered the way the industry itself thought about design. Fashion's Picasso, as he was often called, ushered in a new era where clothes weren't just functional or decorative, they were art. He innovated tirelessly, perfecting silhouettes that would later inspire countless designers, from the trapeze line to the balloon skirt. The changing winds of the 1960s, for decades, Balenciaga's atelier was a sanctuary of impeccable craftsmanship. attracting celebrities, royalty, and fashion enthusiasts alike. His commitment to excellence was unwavering, but by the 1960s, the tides of fashion began to shift. The world was changing rapidly. The youth counterculture brought about an explosion of new ideas, from music to politics, and fashion wasn't immune to the revolution. The rise of prêt-à-porter, or ready-to-wear, transformed the industry. Gone were the days when each piece was custom-made for an individual client. Now clothes were mass-produced for a growing consumer base. For Balenciaga, this shift was a betrayal of everything he stood for. Haute couture was a labor of love, a blend of artistry and intimacy. The notion of standardized sizes and mass production felt soulless to him. By 1968, at the height of his career, Cristobal made a decision that shocked the world. He would close his maison and step away from fashion forever. Life after fashion and an unexpected rebirth, in retirement, Balenciaga retreated to a quiet life. But his influence never wavered. His passing in 1972 left a gaping void in the fashion industry. "There is no one left to replace him," said designer Oscar de la Renta. For over a decade, the house of Balenciaga lay dormant. But in 1986, the brand was revived, marking a new chapter in its story. Though several designers tried their hand at steering Balenciaga, it wasn't until the appointment of Nicolas Ghesquière in 1997 that the maison regained its footing. Balenciaga for a new generation. At just 25 years old, Ghesquière's minimalist designs and sharp silhouettes paid homage to Balenciaga's legacy while appealing to contemporary tastes. Under his leadership, the brand became a fixture in high fashion once again. But as the fashion world evolved, so too did the creative direction of Balenciaga. After Ghesquière's departure in 2012, a series of creative directors came and went, each leaving a mark but none fully capturing the zeitgeist. That was until Demna Gvasalia arrived in 2015. The era of Demna, revolutionizing luxury born in war-torn Georgia in 1981, Demna Gvasalia shared an experience with Cristobal Balenciaga. Displacement caused by conflict. Like the founder, Demna channeled his struggles into creativity, but his approach was far from traditional. Demna injected a dose of irony and provocation into the brand. Everyday items like IKEA bags and Crocs were transformed into luxury goods, blurring the line between satire and high fashion. Critics were divided. Was this genius or gimmick? But for the younger generation, Demna's irreverent style was magnetic. In the digital age, Balenciaga found a new audience among millennials and Gen Z. Collaborations with Fortnite, Kanye West, and even The Simpsons brought the brand into pop culture conversations, while unconventional marketing strategies, like deleting all posts from their Instagram account, kept them in the headlines. A legacy built on innovation, Cristobal Balenciaga may never have envisioned sneakers, memes, or metaverse fashion shows as part of his legacy, but the core principles of his work, innovation, craftsmanship, and individuality, live on. His influence extends far beyond the walls of a Parisian atelier. He inspired generations of designers, from Hubert de Givenchy to Alexander McQueen. As the Balenciaga of today continues to push boundaries, one can't help but wonder how Cristobal would feel about it all. Perhaps he'd raise an eyebrow at the platform Crocs, or laugh at the audacity of Demna's creations. But one thing is certain, his spirit endures. Balenciaga remains a name that stands for daring innovation, just as it did over a century ago in a small seaside village in Spain. What do you think of Cristobal Balenciaga's legacy? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories about the world of fashion.